Now for TBI, which is a bit more complicated, and here we are back at the Fed Reg. I'm going to do this again just so you know. I'm going to talk through it. I'm hitting Control F. I'm typing in TBI, and then boom, it all pops up. Now you can see all the orange things on the right side here. There are many mentions of TBI. We're going to go to the very last one, and here's the criteria for TBI. Let me get off the highlighter. So mental health has 5 buckets. TBI has 1 for memory, attention, concentration, executive functions, 2 for judgment, 3 social interaction, 4 is orientation, 5 is motor activity, right? So doing things. Visual spatial orientation is 6. So now we're already past mental health right now. We have subjective symptoms, which is just my favorite bucket name of all time. Number 7, neurobehavioral effects. Number 8, communication is number 9, and consciousness is number 10. So now we have 10 buckets, okay? And I'm gonna explain why these buckets are a good change for TBI. Then we have levels of impairments. It goes from 0 to 3, and then lastly you have total. Now you don't see that for all of them, okay? For instance, social interaction goes from 0 to 3, and that's it, right? There's no total for each bucket, but minimum 0, 1, 2, 3, and then some of them have the total. Then you have the criteria on how that explains, okay, here's what 0 means. Here's what a 1 means. Here's what 2 means, 3 means, and total means for each bucket. It's very methodical. That's what I like about this, Jason. And 2, the reason why the buckets matter, and this is kind of a conversation piece, okay? The buckets matter because there are a billion little things associated with TBI, with mental health in general, right? And so the buckets for mental health allow the examiner, the VA, and the veteran to really look at 5 specific criteria, specific aspects of our life, and say, hey, when it comes to being socially awkward, and that's not a bucket name, obviously, right? But when it comes to being social, I can't do it, right? Here are my symptoms, yada, yada, yada. And it allows the veteran, the VA, and the C&P examiner to just kind of hone in on one bucket at a time. This is for mental health. Right now, when you go to a C&P exam for mental health, you talk about everything all at once. And for me, it's hard to process. It's like, okay, well, what are we talking about? Are we talking about my ability to maintain effective relationships? Are we talking about my irritability, which are 2 opposite ends of the spectrum here, right? My ability to sympathize with my children is not even closely related to my irritability. I throw things when I get mad because I have PTSD and can't control my anger, right? Maybe I have domestic violence issues. But a lot of times the C&P exam kind of just is a clouded fog of war, if you will, for mental health. The buckets segment that. For TBI, which is much more difficult to understand, there's 10 buckets. It helps me, someone who has been diagnosed with TBI back in the day, little residuals, but it helps me understand, at least saying, hey, visual spatial orientation, I understand what that means. Okay. I understand what visual spatial orientation means. So when we talk about that during the exam, it's going to allow me to really discuss those symptoms specifically instead of just kind of going all over the place. Those are my initial thoughts on the TBI proposed changes. Jason, I want to hear your thoughts on it because it's a lot. 10 buckets is a lot. TBI is a very complicated diagnosis.
Right. Yeah, I think that it is the right move, right? To really, how do you eat an elephant, right? It's that whole
exactly.
thing, right? It's there is no other way to do it. It's just too much to handle as just one swipe, right? So we need to break it down in a digestible fashion, and this is how you do it. I think that when you front load that, again, with conversations with your doctor, as you're working with your doctor, understanding all the different buckets, again, if you will, that is where we'll call it the magic, right? Where the magic happens is understanding what the VA is looking for. So many times, Clay, so many. I know you know it. I've seen it 1,000 times that we, the veteran community, think, well, I just need to tell them this and it's going to be fine. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to take care of me. I just need to get it in front of them and they'll figure it out. And that's not the case. You have to give them what they're looking for. They're looking for a specific thing. If there's 10 buckets, dial in on those 10 buckets and give them what they need. Don't find an 11th bucket in your own mind and create something over there and give them that, because that doesn't matter. So I think that it gives a very good, clear cut way to go about it. I think that the civilian doctors out there, right? If you go to a TBI kind of specialist or what have you, uh, outside of the VA, just because it'll be more convenient if you're trying to get any sort of evidence.
You mean private? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. So you go, and this will help you guide the evidence that you need, right? So you need treatment and you need evidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's two things, right? So you need your evidence for your claim, whether it's evidence to file your first claim or it's evidence to file for an increase or what have you. You need to educate your doctor on VA speak, right? Hey, look, I need to dial in on these 10 things. Can we articulate it in these 10 things? Can we clearly outline this? It will help you out tremendously. So I think it's a great move, Clay. I think that, and I know that I keep hammering home on the point of the practical application of this, but I think that's where the rubber meets the road, right? Is okay, well, this change goes into effect. How does it affect me? It affects you in a way that you can actually have a conversation with your doctor and be able to provide. Because why? Look, why are we going through this? Because you're going to file a claim for it and you're going to get compensation. So let's talk about how that works. Work with your doctor. Your doctor's either going to play ball with you and help you articulate those 10 things and get it in the right format, and you've educated them and they're going to spend the time doing it, or they're not. Some doctors don't, right? Some private doctors out there are just like, no, I see you, I treat you. I'm not going to go filling out VA forms, and I'm not going to be doing all this extra work and rationale and whatever else and blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. Again, your resources out there are vast. My suggestion is don't jump straight to a claims consulting company and spend 6 months worth of your increase. That should not be your first reaction. Work with an accredited representative, have them help you, have them refer you to maybe a local doctor that could do something for you, more affordably. If that doesn't work out, AME is a great option. Work with them, see what they can do. Veteran AI is a great option that can help you develop the information you need and rationale and so forth. There are things out there for you that can help you gather the evidence you need. Knowing what you need is key. And this is it. Those 10 things, those 10 buckets are really going to help, I think, veterans really figure out what the VA wants. And I'm going to throw this out there, Clay, and then I'll kick it back to you. All of your evidence that you gather along the way, make yourself a little, we'll call it a cheat sheet that you could take with you to your CNP exam. Okay. Don't go in unarmed. This is not some sort of a weird, closed book test and, hope you studied. That's
Mm-hmm.
not what they call it, an exam, and it gives a weird feel and you're going to who cares? Look, this is your life. This is your life. It's $1 million deal. Walk in with notes and tell the CNP examiner, hey, look, I made some notes. I don't want to miss anything, and in this case, I got TBI. I don't want to forget anything. Come on. Sorry, we want to see how bad it is. No, they're going to be like, cool, that's fine. They don't care because they have somebody after you. They're trying to just move things along because they got their next appointment.